The reason why, please don't take this personal, TikTok streets and world. The reason why I have a preference for YouTube is because once I have completed, hey YouTube, welcome to Soulful Sunday at the SupaTeaPodcastShow. The reason I'm going to be looking like this and looking like this because I had to plug in my phone. That's what's going on. TikTok is on the phone. YouTube is over here. But the reason why I have a preference for YouTube is because after I finish recording with very minimal steps, I just have to put in the description and take it off of private, and it will upload, and the episode will be there for viewers to look at their own convenience. People, life is lifing for us all. That is the purpose of me doing these Soulful Sundays, because I want to remind folks that we are so much more than these bodies, even though these bodies can be quite, attractive. We're so much more. We are our soul. So Soulful Sunday is an opportunity to dive deep and dig into the bigger part of ourselves and reset and intend for the week ahead. As you can hear the goddamn on ambulance, because I'm in an urban community currently. Yeah, it's noisy. It's a lot going on. And if you don't focus your attention to where you want it to go, things and people will grab it. Okay? They will grab it, and before you know, you ain't get done what you wanted to get done. Okay? So, we left off last week at chapter 1, and we're continuing this week to chapter 2. Karma. And I am going to just dive in and allow, hey, happy vibes, allow the essence of the bigger part of me to just flow through. You will hear noises in the background. This is not a soundproof studio. I probably will, maybe, because I do have access to a studio space and it's free. But of course it doesn't have the aesthetics, and of course at home, and of course I have to go outside before I can get to it. I can't wait to have my own soundproof studio, but that's going to be a little tricky in this particular space that I'm currently residing in, because there's windows, and I can soundproof the walls, but I guess I would have to put stuff to soundproof the windows, and then darken the room and all of that. And I love the natural light. I love the sun. The sun loves me, obviously. I mean, can't you see? The sun loves me, obviously. And so, yeah. I'm going to just dive right on in. Chapter 2, Seat of the Soul, Gary ZUKAV. If you don't have a copy already, it's okay. Because every week until we complete this book, we will be meeting here at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at the SupaTeaPodcastShow. Now, please forgive me this week. I was a little tardy. However, I'm here now. So I'm going to just start reading. You know what's going on. You know what's happening. Let's get to it. Chapter 2 is named Karma. Most of us are accustomed to the belief that our participation in the process of evolution is limited to the duration of a single lifetime. I'm sorry. I know you're like, what's so funny about that? What's funny about that is that I'm going to stop right here and not to get too detailed, but I am going to say that I have always believed in reincarnation. And always, because I just feel I feel old. And it's not because of aches. I do got a little bit of aches. But it is because it's just things that I know, and there's things that I know that I haven't even studied. There are things that I'm just attracted to that are ancient, and it feels familiar, and it doesn't feel new, even though it could be a new space. If it's ancient, it feels familiar to me. So I've always wondered, like, this is not my first time here. You know, I've been here before. And I've even had, I got a flash goal. Okay, thank you. I don't know what that is. But let me press it and see. I've even had, star, 3 gifters. Okay, finish. Okay. I got a flash goal, whatever that is. I've even had, visions. Hey, Doodle. I've had visions that have given me windows into different lifetimes. And I'm going to just leave it right there because, again, I didn't know what chapter 2 was going to start as. And the fact that chapter 2 is starting about talking about people believing that they only have one lifetime. And the experience, thank you for the heart, thank you. The experience I have been having in these 40 years in such a short time. And the fact that I feel so familiar with ancient things, and it's not because, oh, I read about it. No, I feel it. The fact that I know certain things that I have not studied, and then I come across it, and I'll be like, oh, but I knew that already. Like, I knew that deep down within already. I knew that. Ooh, I old. I old. I have a very old soul, and I am not ashamed to say that I have a very old soul, and I'm not ashamed to say that I believe in reincarnation, and that I know that it is a phenomena of the soul. I just don't feel like every baby is a brand new soul coming to the planet. I don't feel that way at all. Um, it's a brand new experience. They may be coming woo, through a brand new bloodline. Oh, I have to pause before I continue. I was watching Agape today, and the keynote speaker said something that was so freaking phenomenal because a lot of people tend to want to hold on to old baggage. They want to hold on to old trauma, old baggage. They don't want to let it go, and then they wonder why they stay in the same spot. They wonder why they don't elevate and go further if that's what they desire to do. Not everybody desires to go further than where they are. Some people are happy exactly where they are. Granted, you should be happy where you are. But if you want to reach your highest potential, the only way to reach your highest potential is to let go of the past. And when I tell you, woo, the past, sometimes the past don't want to let go of you, right? That part. The past was trying to hold on. I had to remind it, listen, I'm new, baby. I'm new. I'm going to be me, and I'm going to continue to grow. But guess what? I'm new, and I am confident in this new me I am, okay? If I could come on here with no bronzer, no makeup, no filter. Straight from the laundry room, okay? And still shine, okay, baby? So, yes, she said this statement where she had an epiphany. And her epiphany was during the pandemic. And a lot of people had a lot of epiphanies during that time, right? But epiphanies didn't start then or stop there. But this was just her particular experience. She was having an identity crisis. Initially, she thought it was a financial crisis because people were commanded to stay inside of their houses. That fiasco. If you live in New York City and you would just see how people are right now, it's like that fiasco never ever happened. It blows my freaking mind. But anyway, back to the keynote speaker of Agape. So she's this is her words. She's been steward. Her family has been steward over money for quite some time, and she got nervous because not only was $200,000 siphoned from or not siphoned, misdirected from going into her account, going into somebody else's account, via cyber fraud or cyber bullying. I don't know. Somebody defrauded her online. She's an instructor. She's a keynote. She does a lot of things independently and also with Agape International Spiritual Center. So, anyway, not only did that hit her, but also what hit her was the fact that because people were instructed to stay in, people that deal in the finance industry very heavily, which is an interesting industry, I will say. It's a very interesting industry. They were fearful because they figure nobody's going to be buying. Nobody's going to be pouring into it. So if nobody's pouring into it, how is it going to put out? Because it is circulatory, that system. But I ain't going to go into financial literacy right here, right now with you guys. What I will say is that back to this lady, she was like in a puddle. She was like in fetal position, her words, fetal position on the floor in a puddle of tears, on the phone with her financial advisor, trying to figure out what the hell was going to go on and happen because she feared that she was going to lose her money. And in that moment, she pulled out some tools that she obviously had been using for practice as a practitioner of Agape and as a trustee of Agape International Spiritual Center, and she started utilizing those tools. And she went into deep meditation, and in her deep meditation, she had an out-of-body experience, and she was able to look like at the physical body and look at the bigger part of herself that had came out of the physical for a moment. And even though it didn't all come out, because obviously she's still with us, so she didn't like die, she didn't leave like everything, but she had an experience. She had an experience, and then when she made the observations and looked at the difference, like, okay, this is my higher self here, this is my lower self here, lying on the floor, and my higher self is happy, is joyful, there's nothing wrong over here, but here, and she was like, wait a minute, who am I really? Am I really this physical body? Oh no, I'm not really this physical body. I'm really the bigger part of me, which is my soul, which is my spirit. And when she had that realization, she was able to get things under control and bring things to a proper perspective. And now, of course, she recovered the $200,000. And not only that, she was able to build even more bigger, more profitable things. And needless to say, she did not go hungry, and neither did her family. However, she had to realize that she was much bigger than her physical body. Some of us don't want to recognize that. We don't want to realize that. We don't want to go into that mysterious, unknown space. But I love it there. I love it there. I love it there. Me going into that unknown space is what has allowed me to grow and to heal through some gruesome things. When I said gruesome things. Oh, and people find it hard to believe, even though they see it. They see it and they feel it, and they come around me and they see the difference in me, but they still they don't believe it, and that's okay because you have to experience it for yourself. But if I can do it, me, foster care me, abandoned child me, used and abused previous me, if I can do this, then you can do this. Then anybody can do this. Anybody can elevate. Anybody can heal. Anybody can grow past anything. Anything. You wake up in the morning, that's your proof. That's your proof. You've woken up. That's your proof. But I'm going to get back into the book. I'm going to start from the top. Most of us are accustomed to the belief that our participation in the process of evolution is limited to the duration of a single lifetime. This belief reflects the perspective of the 5 sensory personality. From the point of view of the 5 sensory personality, Nothing of itself lasts beyond its lifetime, and there is nothing in the experience of the five sensory human that is not of itself. The multi-sensory human, too, understands that nothing of itself lasts beyond its lifetime, but it is also aware of its immortal soul. The lifetime of your personality is one of a myriad of experiences of your soul. The soul, your soul, my soul, everybody's soul, exists outside of time. I know it's hard for you to imagine. What is outside of time? Outside of time. I'm going to continue. The perspective of the soul is immense, and the perception of the soul is without the limitations of the personality. It's a limit, baby. Souls that have chosen the physical experience of life, souls that have chosen the physical experience of life as we know it, as a path of evolution, have, in general, incarnated their energies many times into many psychological and physical forms. For each incarnation, the soul creates a different personality and body. The personality and the body that for the five sensory human are the experiential entirety of its existence, are for its soul the unique, perfectly suited instruments of a particular incarnation. Each personality contributes in its own special way, with its own special aptitudes and lessons to learn, consciously or unconsciously, to the evolution of its soul. The life of a mother, a warrior, a daughter, a priest, the experiences of love, vulnerability, fear, loss, and tenderness, the struggles with anger, defiance, emptiness, jealousy, all serve the evolution of the soul. Each physical, emotional, and psychological characteristic that comprises a personality and its body, strong or weak arms, dense or penetrating intellect, happy or despairing disposition, yellow or black skin, even hair and eye color is perfectly suited to its sole purpose. Ooh, I know that's the truth right there, because do I want to tell you how good it is, because it's good. Woo! I get to gaze upon the goodness in the flesh very soon. The five sensory personality is not aware of the many other incarnations of its soul. That's why people don't believe it. They got to be tapped into the multi-sensory self of themselves. They cannot just be just mundane. And I'm not saying that people that only utilizes their five senses is mundane, but when you are, I don't know, maybe shouldn't compare it to multisensory, because multisensory is another level. And not everybody is going to reach for other levels in this lifetime. They may come back and choose to do that. They may just want to be having a lesson for the soul. Like, there's so many different variations of why people choose to incarnate into the flesh. But it is a choice. It is a choice. So that, I think, is so empowering, because a lot of people be like, why was I here? I didn't ask to be here. No, you chose to be here. You may not have asked to be here, but you did choose to be here, and you chose to specifically come through the particular bloodline that you came through. Now, why you made that choice That's something for you to meditate on and to dive deep and ask yourself, because yourself will reveal the answers to you. However, every soul that's here chose to be here. The five sensory personality is not aware of the many other incarnations of its soul. A multisensory personality may be conscious of these incarnations or experience them as its own past or future lives. They are in its family of lives, so to speak, but they are not lives that it itself has lived. They are experiences of its soul. From the point of view of the soul, all of its incarnations are simultaneous. All of its personalities exist at once. Therefore, the release of negativity that occurs in one of the soul's incarnations beliefs are not only itself, but all of its soul's others incarnations also. Because the soul itself is not confined to time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The past of a personality as well as its future is enhanced when a personality releases currents of fear and doubt. As we shall see, the release of negativity by a personality benefits a great many other dynamics of consciousness as well. Some of these can be perceived by the five sensory human, but appear to him or her neither as dynamics of consciousness nor as related to his or her inner processes, such as the consciousness and evolution of his or her sex, race, nation, and culture. Others extend far beyond the perceptual ability of the five sensory human. A conscious lifetime, therefore, is a treasure beyond value. The personality and its body are artificial aspects of the soul. When they have served their functions at the end of the soul's incarnation, the soul releases them. They come to an end, but the soul does not. After an incarnation, the soul returns to its immortal and timeless state. It returns once again to its natural state of compassion, clarity, and boundless love. This is the context in which our evolution occurs, the continual incarnation and reincarnation of the energy of the soul into the physical arena, into our earth school. Why does this happen? Why is it necessary to even speak of personalities and souls? The incarnation of a soul is a massive reduction of power of the soul to a scale that is appropriate to a physical form. It is the reduction of an immortal life system into the framework of time and the span of a few years. It is the reduction of a perceptual system that partakes simultaneously through direct experiences of countless lifetimes, some of them physical, some of them non-physical, to the five physical senses. The soul chooses voluntarily to undertake this experience in order to heal. The personality is those parts of the soul that require healing, along with those parts of the soul such as compassion and love that the soul has lent to the process of healing in that lifetime. The splintered aspects of the soul, the aspects that require healing, need to interact in physical matter so that each part of the splinteredness can become whole. The personality is like a complex mandala that is formed from these splintered parts in addition to the parts that are not splintered. It comes directly from the parts of the soul that the soul has chosen to work on in this lifetime to heal, that need to experience physical matter, and those parts that the soul has given to the process of healing in which you are involved. Therefore, you can see within a person's personality the splintered suffering of the soul from which it was formed, as well as the grace that the soul has earned, which is the loving part of the personality. Consider how powerful the soul is if it can have a part of itself that experiences great love, a part of itself that experiences fears, a part that is perhaps neutral, a part that experiences schizophrenia, and a part that is dramatically compassionate. If any of these parts are incomplete, the personality that the soul forms will be out of harmony. The harmonious personality is one in which the soul flows easily through the part of itself that it is in touch with, its physical incarnation. The soul is. It has no beginning and no end, but it flows towards wholeness. The personality emerges as a natural force from the soul. It is an energy tool that the soul adapts to function within the physical world. Each personality is unique because the configuration of energy of the soul that formed it is unique. It is the persona of the soul, so to speak, that interacts with physical matter. It is a product that is formed from the vibrational aspect of your name, the vibrational aspect of your relationships to planets at the time of your incarnation, and the vibrational aspects of your energy environment, as well as from the splintered aspects of your soul that need to interact in a physical matter in order to be brought into wholeness. The personality does not operate independently from the soul. To the extent that a person is in touch with spiritual depths, the personality is soothed because the energy of consciousness is focused on its energy core and not on the artificial facade, which is the personality. The personality sometimes appears as a force running rampant in the world with no attachment to the energy of its soul. It's just an appearance. This situation can be the origin of what we call an evil human being. And it can be the origin of a schizophrenic human being. It is the result of a personality being unable to find its reference point, hence the soul, or connection to its mothership, which is its soul, not the mother that gave birth to them. The conflicts of a human's life are directly proportional to the distance at which an energy of personality exists separately from the soul, and therefore, as we shall see, in an irresponsible position of creation. When a personality is in full balance, you cannot see where it ends and where the soul begins. This is a whole human being. What is involved in the healing of the soul? Most of us are accustomed to the idea that we are responsible for some of our actions, but not all of them. We consider ourselves responsible, for example, for the good deed that brings our neighbor and us together, or for responding to it positively. But we do not consider ourselves responsible for the argument between us and our neighbor, or for responding to it negatively. Responsible for everything we do, okay? We consider ourselves responsible for having a safe trip if we take the time to check the condition of the car before starting. But if we speed around a car that, in our opinion, has been traveling too slowly and almost caused an accident by doing that, we consider the other driver to be responsible. If we feed and clothe ourselves through our successful business, we credit ourselves. If we feed and clothe ourselves by burglarizing apartments, we blame our difficult childhood. Sorry, it's not funny, but it's irony. They're being sarcastic in this part, obviously. For many of us, being held responsible is equal to getting caught. A friend who returns each year to his native Italy told me, with a twinkle in his eye, of a dinner out with his family. When the bill came, my father's friend, who is fastidious. Am I saying this right? I don't know what this word is. Fastidious. Fastidious. I have to Google it. He's fastidious. Fastidious. Examined each scribbled item. After some study, he deciphered the last entry and recognized it to be a short expression that translates roughly, if it goes, it goes. He called the waiter and asked, "What is this item?" The waiter shrugged. It didn't go. Many of us feel that if the clerk gave us too much change and we take it, our life has been affected only to the extent that we have come into an unexpected gain. In fact, each of our acts affects us in far-reaching ways. Every action, every thought, every feeling is motivated by an intention. And that intention is to cause that exists as one with an effect. If we participate in the cause, it is not possible for us not to participate in the effect. In this much profound way, we are held responsible for our every action, every thought, every feeling, which is to say, for our every intention. We ourselves shall partake of the fruit of our every intention. It is therefore wise of us, to become aware of the many intentions that inform our experience, to sort out which intentions produce which effects, and to choose our intentions according to the effects that we desire to produce. This is the way that we learn about physical reality as children, and that we refine our knowledge of it as adults. We learn the effect of crying when we're hungry, and we repeat that cause that brings us the effect that we desire. We learn the effect of putting a finger in a light socket, and we do not repeat the cause that produces that effect. We also learn about intentions and their efforts through our experiences in physical reality. But learning that intentions produce specific effects and what those effects are proceeds slowly when our learning must be done solely through the density of physical matter. Anger, for example, causes distance and hostile interactions. If we must learn this solely through physical experiences, then we may have to experience 10 or 50 or 150 circumstances to distance from another in hostile interactions before we come to understand that it is the orientation of anger on our part, the intention of hostility and distance, and not this particular action or that, which produces the effect that we do not want. This is predominantly the way that a five-sensory human learns. The relationship of cause and effect within the domain of physical objects and phenomena reflects a dynamic that is not limited to physical reality. This is the dynamic of karma. Everything in the physical world, including each of us, is a small part of dynamics that are more extensive than a five-sensory human can perceive. The love, fear, compassion, and anger that you experience, for example, are only a small part of the love, fear, compassion, and anger of a larger energy system that you don't see. Within physical reality, the dynamic of karma is reflected by the third law of motion. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. In other words, the great law of karma that governs the balancing of energy within our evolutionary system is reflected within the domain of physical objects and phenomena by the last of these principles, three laws of motion that govern the balancing of energy within the physical reality. The law of karma is an impersonal energy dynamic. When Its effects are personalized, that is, experienced from the point of view of the personality. They are experienced as a reversal in the direction, a coming back to the intender of the energy of his or her intention. This is how the personality experiences the impersonal dynamic that is described by the third law as an equal and opposite reaction. The person who intends hatred for others, like that's their intention, experiences the intention of hatred from others. The person who intends love for others experiences the intention of love from others, and so forth. The Golden Rule is a behavioral guide that is based upon the dynamic of karma. A personalized statement of karma would be you receive from the world what you give to the world. Karma is not a moral dynamic. Morality is human creation. The universe don't judge. The law of karma governs the balancing of energy within our system of morality and within those of our neighbors. It serves humanity as an impersonal and universal teacher of responsibility. Every cause that has not yet produced its effect is an event that has not yet come to completion. It is an imbalance of energy that is in the process of becoming balanced. The balancing of energy does not always occur within the span of a single lifetime. The karma of your soul is created and balanced by the activities of its many personalities, including you. Often a personality experiences effects that were created by other of its soul's personalities, and conversely creates energy and balances that are not able to right themselves within its own lifetime. Therefore, without knowledge of its soul, reincarnation, and karma, it is not always possible for a personality to understand the significance or the meaning of the events of its life, or to understand the effects of its responses to them. For example, a personality that takes advantage of others creates an imbalance of energy that must be righted by the experience of being taken advantage of by others. And that cannot be accomplished within the lifetime of this personality. Another of its soul's personalities will experience being taken advantage of by other people. If that personality does not understand that the experience of being taken advantage of by others is the effect of a previous cause, and that this experience is bringing to completion an impersonal process, it will react from a personal point of view rather than from the point of view of its soul. It may become angry, for example, or vengeful, or depressed. It may lash out or grow cynical or withdraw into sorrow. Each of these responses creates karma, another imbalance of energy, which in turn must be balanced. In this way, one karmic debt has been paid, so to speak, but another or others have been created. If a child dies early in its life and we do not know what agreement was made between that child's soul and the soul of its parents, and what healing was served by this experience. Although we are sympathetic to the anguish of the parents, we cannot judge this event. If we are the parents of this child does not understand the impersonal nature of the dynamic that is in motion, we may reach with anger towards the universe, or towards each other, or with guilt if we feel that our actions were inadequate. All of those reactions create karma and more lessons for the soul to learn, more karmic debts for the soul to pay here. In order to become whole, the soul must balance its energy. It must experience the effects that it has caused. The energy imbalances in the soul are the incomplete parts of the soul that form the personality. Personalities are personalities in interaction, are souls that are seeking to heal. Whether an interaction between souls is healing or not depends upon whether the personality involved can see beyond itself and that of the other personality to the interaction of their souls. This perception automatically draws forth compassion. Every experience and every interaction provides you with an opportunity to look from the point of view of your soul or from the point of view of your personality. What does this mean in practical terms? How does a personality begin to look beyond itself and to see its soul in interaction with the souls of others? Since we cannot know what is being healed through each interaction, what karmic debts are coming to conclusion, we cannot judge what we see. For example, when we see a person sleeping in the gutter in the winter, we do not know what is being completed for that soul. We do not know whether that soul has engaged in cruelty in another lifetime and now has chosen to experience the same dynamic from an entirely different point of view, as for example, the target of charity. It is appropriate that we respond to his or her circumstance with compassion, but it's not appropriate that we perceive it as unfair because it is not. There are personalities that are selfish and hostile and negative, and even in these cases, we cannot fully know the reasons why. These are hidden from view. That does not mean that we cannot recognize negativity when we see it, but we cannot judge it. That's not our place. If we intervene in an argument or break up a fight, it is not appropriate that we judge the participants. Of one thing we can be certain. A person that is engaging in violence is hurting deeply because a healthy and balanced soul is incapable of harming another. When we judge, we create negative karma. Judgment is a function of the personality. When we say of another, she is worthy, he is not worthy, we create negative karma. When we say of an action, this is right or this is wrong, we create negative karma. This does not mean that we should not act appropriately to the circumstances we find ourselves. If our car is hit by another, for example, and the driver of the other car is drunk, it is appropriate that the other driver be held responsible through the courts for the repair of our car. It is appropriate that he or she be prohibited from driving while intoxicated. It is not appropriate that we allow our actions to be motivated by feelings of indignation, righteousness, or victimization. These feelings are the results of judgments that we make about ourselves and the other person, assessments through which we see ourselves as superior to another being. If we act upon these feelings, not only do we increase the karmic obligations of our soul, but we also are not able to enter into these feelings and learn from them. Feelings, as we shall see, are the means through which we can discern the parts of itself that the soul seeks to heal, and through which we come to see the action of the soul in physical matter. The road to your soul is through your heart. If we are to engage the viewpoint of the soul, we must cease from judging. Even those events that appear to be unfathomable, such as the cruelty of an inquisition or a holocaust, the death of an infant, the prolonged agony of a death by cancer, or life confined to a bed. We do not know what is being healed in these sufferings or the details of the energetic circumstance that is coming into balance. It is appropriate that we allow ourselves to feel the compassion that such circumstances call forth in us and to act upon it. But if we allow ourselves to judge these events and those who participate in them, we create negative karma that must be balanced, and we ourselves will be among those souls that choose to participate in circumstances that are necessary to their balancing. If we do not judge, how can there be justice? Gandhi was beaten several times during his life. Although on 2 occasions he nearly died, he refused to prosecute his attackers because he saw that they were doing what they thought was right. This position of non-judgmental acceptance was central in Gandhi's life. The Christ did not judge, even those who spit in his face and who subjected him without mercy to his pain and humiliation. He asked forgiveness, not vengeance, for those who tortured him. Did neither the Christ nor Gandhi know the meaning of justice. They knew non-judgmental justice. What is non-judgmental justice? Non-judgmental justice is a perception that allows you to see everything in life, but does not engage your negative emotions. Non-judgmental justice relieves you of the self-appointed job of judge and jury because you know that everything is being seen. Nothing escapes the law of karma, and this brings forth understanding and compassion. Non-judgmental justice is the freedom of seeing what you see and experiencing what you experience without responding negatively. It allows you to experience directly the unobstructed flow of intelligence, radiance, and love of the universe, of which our physical reality is a part. Non judgmental justice flows naturally from understanding the soul and how it evolves. This, then, is the framework of our evolutionary process, the continual incarnation and reincarnation of the energy of the soul into physical reality for the purposes of healing and balancing its energy in accordance with the law of karma. Within this framework, we evolve as individuals and collectively as a species through the cycle of being unempowered to becoming empowered. Yet the experiences that we encounter in this process need not be the kind that we have encountered to now. That was a very profound and right on time chapter. When I tell you right on time, I mean right on time. Right on time. I'm so grateful for this experience and to be able to have these platforms here, TikTok, here, YouTube, so that I can share and inspire and remind people of the bigger part of themselves, the soul. And that's why on Soulful Sundays, we dive into this particular book, which is called The Seat of the Soul. And the topic will always be the soul. Now, sometimes we may go into details. Our very first episode, when I restarted, was talking about supporting people who are having addictions. But I feel like this book right here has brought such clarity, even into that perspective, even into that realm, because you realize you don't really know what that soul agreed to encounter in this particular lifetime to bring balance. You don't know what that soul did in other lifetimes. You just don't know. You just don't know. Even as a loved one, even as a parent, you don't know. You can only, and maybe there's a way, but I feel you only really have access to your own information, your own soul's information. Now, if another soul chooses to open up and share with you after they have done their own personal work, that is their prerogative. But you can't judge and say, well, this person doesn't deserve this, because maybe they do. Maybe that's their karma. So have compassion, but also don't be judging and don't say it's not fair. This live is going to be in 5 minutes. How you in it? I am having a whole what? I'm having a whole conversation. And TikTok is like TikTok is saying it's inactivity. I don't know how it's inactivity over there in the TikTok streets. This is why I be liking YouTube. YouTube is why I like you. Mwah, 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 mwah. Next week will be better. Because I will actually plan out, and I have a lot of work to do, but I am approaching my 4th week in college, and we only have 6 weeks in the summertime. So it's pretty intense. Life is pretty, intense, but in a good way, and I appreciate it, and I'm so grateful to again have these platforms and have the opportunity to have these conversations, because these conversations are important and people need to be able to hear at the right time, because it's always going to be at the right time. Now, if you follow me on YouTube, then you can rewatch this episode. But if you just follow me on TikTok, then well, you gotta catch it when you catch it. But with that being said, I just hope everybody has a good week. My last week went like way over an hour. This one's gonna barely reach an hour. Um, because I have things that I need to get to. I need to get the laundry that I've completed into its proper space and place. I still have some cleaning to do. I did complete my homework but I do have some other homework that I could be starting, and some studying to do. I have to make up a midterm. I had a midterm this past week. So I got some things to do, but I do want to say that I'm grateful. Your comments and your messages are always welcome. In my YouTube, in the description, there will be some resources for you. So I invite you to check out those resources and continue to remember who you truly are, and don't get so distracted by all of the things that's happening in the world today, because every soul that's here is experiencing its own karmic experience, and we can be compassionate towards each other, but it's not our position to be judgmental towards each other or to condemn anything or anyone. And if you have found yourself to be in that space, make amends and send apologies out, and fix that so that that is fixed for your soul. Thank you again for tuning in to the Super Tea Podcast Show, and I will catch you same time next week, next Sunday, 3 p.m. for Soulful Sundays here at the Super Tea Podcast Show. Thank you.